Hello everyone and welcome back to another Mindful Manis and Chats video. Today I have the long-awaited return of the ranking seasonal collections by nail polish brands video. Yes, exactly. So one reason this video is a little bit extra special is because this one is actually the last one because we started in spring, did summer, fall, and now we're doing winter. Yes, it's May, but you know what? The season is not over yet. So I still have some time to get my winter collection review video in before spring ends. So that means that today I'm going to share that with you, and then at the end, I'm actually going to go over the rankings for the full year. So kind of to see how brands did in terms of my opinion. All of this is just my opinion, of course, and my personal rankings, and we'll kind of just see how they stood up and fared up and see, if I think that the overall outcome for the full year is like fair or not. It's so funny talking about some of these older collections today because they feel like forever ago, which in some sense of the word, and maybe it is forever ago, but I know that a lot of you guys don't really care because obviously you either buy the collection or you don't, you still remember it. Maybe you have some of the polishes now and are still curious to see what people think about them, and maybe this will remind you of some of the collections that came out last year, early this year, and kind of see if they stack up, if they hold up, and if they stand the test of time. We'll look into it now. The first collection we're actually gonna go into is Cirque Colors Symphony Collection. This one was a 6-piece collection and it had a nice mix of formulas in it. They had reflective thermals, shimmers in it, all that good stuff. And my favorite one in the collection was Dreamwalker, and my least favorite one in the collection was Songbird, which is kind of funny because if you follow my Instagram, I love birds, so therefore I should like the one called after a bird. But they made it like a black magnetic, and I'm like, Songbird, black magnetic? I don't know. Maybe they're trying to mimic a blackbird, but when I think of Songbird, I don't think of a blackbird. I think maybe a bluebird or a cardinal. I don't know, a blackbird. Anyway, so I thought that was an interesting choice just as someone who likes birds. But other than that, this collection was just okay in my opinion. When you say symphony collection, I don't know, I'm expecting more grandiosity, something that evokes emotion, it's a symphony, and then this collection just doesn't hold up to that. So I guess I am kind of judging it based on the theme, but obviously the companies have the themes in order to evoke a certain emotion from the consumers, and I feel like this one evoked something, but then it didn't deliver. So I'm left feeling with mixed feelings about this collection, unfortunately. Overall, I'm gonna give this one a C. If you're not familiar with this ranking system, it starts from S and goes down to a D or an F. It's your pretty straightforward tier ranking. I just am basing all this just on my personal opinion, honestly. So feel free to let me know if you disagree or agree in the comments below. But overall, I'm giving the Cirque Colors Symphony Collection a C. The next collection I'm going to mention is Holo Taco's mini advent calendar collection. This one was sent to me in PR. All of the Holo Taco collections were, so I was able to actually try them out in person. If you're curious and want to see any collection reviews where I swatch them and show comparisons, feel free to check out those videos in my channel. But the Holo Taco Advent Collection, did have some controversy around it just because they were polishes that were exclusive to the Advent calendar, and they were mini polishes as well. So some of those things I know definitely rub people the wrong way. And thankfully, it seems like some of those polishes are making a comeback sometime this year. So that's something to look out for if you missed them in the Advent calendar, because I know that one did also sell out relatively quickly, which is such a shame because these polishes are super pretty, and honestly, I don't know what I was expecting for a Holo Taco Advent calendar, but I was very satisfied with it. I was more than satisfied. My favorite one from the collection was Diamond Dasher. I just love chunky glitter toppers like that. They are so fun for placement. I also really like the gold scattered Holo Taco in it as well, and Call Me Vixen. There's a lot of really cool polishes in this collection. Wreath, Havoc, Taco. I mean, I guess I just love toppers is kind of what I'm saying. But other than that, I think the collection was put together very, very nicely. I do still wish that people were able to buy the nail polishes outside of buying the advent calendar, but I think, you know, they're doing right by still making them available, a select few of them later on the next year, so you can still get your hands on at least like the most popular ones, I'm assuming. So other than that though, if we just look at the collection, I think the box is super cute. A lot of these collections I'm reviewing today don't have a box, but I just wanted to mention it because it is really pretty. It has a hand cream, but of course if I'm only looking at nail polishes, then I really liked it. I think the selection was really good to like appeal to as many people as possible, which is kind of the aim of the advent calendar in my opinion, to make it kind of generic but still kind of introduce some cool exciting things like those fun toppers in it. So overall, I love that collection, honestly. Like, I think it was very well done, and I'm gonna give it an A. I'm putting that pretty high up, you know. The next collection I'm going to talk about is ILNP's Santa's Workshop collection. We're kind of getting into the Christmassy collections now, and this collection I thought was so cute, honestly. And I am a sucker, honestly, for Christmas themed pretty much anything. I think it's so cute. My favorite polish from this collection was Toyland. I just love those little speckled polishes that ILNP does. They feel just so fun and festive. Like, I don't know why, I just like love it. They like tickle me the right way, you know what I mean? So overall, really like this collection. It's a 6-piece collection again, mixed finishes, which I do like, except I guess not in the Cirque Colors Symphony collection. But anyway, the ILNP one, super cute, love it. I don't have too much to say about this one, but I am actually gonna give it an A. I was totally digging it. The next collection I'm going to talk about is Cirque Colors Holiday Glazed Collection. This was a whopping 10-piece collection, and it was divided into toppers and jelly polishes. I know Cirque Colors loves the jelly collection for sure, and honestly, I love a jelly collection from Cirque Colors. Is that okay to say? Like, their marketing works on me, guys. Like, it works. Do I buy it? No, because guys, you don't always have to buy stuff that you like. Like, yes, the marketing could be directed exactly towards you, but that doesn't mean you actually have to like spend your money on it, like your hard-earned coin. Don't just give it out willy-nilly to these companies, you know. You gotta be protective of it a little bit. You work hard for that. So anyway, basically what I'm saying is that I really like this collection. I was very, very satisfied with it. It's kind of making it seem like I just love holiday collections in general. But one thing I liked about this collection was that it wasn't too like bam festive, but it still felt like holiday. I don't know why. It felt very homey, earthy. I loved the like wine and the fig inspiration, and the toppers, I know they weren't all new. They were kind of brought back. I know Lumiere, at least, maybe they had a couple new toppers in there, but I think it's very smart to release like a bunch of toppers with a bunch of jelly polishes. I know Holo Taco did that with their jelly sandwich collection, and I think it works really well. I do also think that having darker toned jellies is like a must, at least in my opinion. Like, I have a lot of bright ones and pastel ones, but not a whole lot of like really dark kind of ones. So I really appreciate them bringing that, even though it feels like Cirque Colors has done literally every jelly color imaginable. I am still like satisfied seeing more colors come out, if that makes sense. So overall, I'm gonna give this one a B. The next collection we're going to talk about is ILNP's Snow Day collection. This was a 6-piece collection filled with their cream polishes, and it definitely has like a cozy vibe to it. I totally can see the inspiration to it. It just feels like I'm kind of tucked away in like a wooden cabin out in like Minnesota or something in the middle of a snowstorm, like drinking hot cocoa with my little blanket. Like, that's the vibe. Like, they are so good at having a vision and then executing it perfectly. That's one of the many reasons I respect ILNP so much. Like, honestly, Barbara, get it. But anyway, so I feel like some people could think this collection looks really boring, but for some reason, like, those colors and tones really speak to me. I guess like in the winter season, and I really liked it. It's a full cream collection, so not too much to say about it, but honestly, it earns a B for me. This next collection is Mooncat's Avatar The Last Airbender collection set. This was an 8-piece collection. It had thermals, flakies, shimmers, like glow in the dark polishes. So honestly, a great variety. I'm just gonna start off and tell you guys, this gets an A. Like, this collection was so well done. A lot of the polishes people are still kind of raving over. I know My Cabbages is like the best polish ever. If Mooncat wasn't $1 million per bottle, I probably would have bought that one, honestly. But overall, I think the collection did very, very well, and I'm happy for them. I think they did a really good job on it. I think the reason I'm not gonna give it an S tier though is because some of the polishes felt a little bit too like basic to me, I guess. I don't know. Full disclosure, I have never seen Avatar The Last Airbender, so maybe that might have something to do with it. Maybe like if you have seen the show and like you see the polishes, they like make perfect sense, but from like an outside perspective, I feel like, I don't know, they could have been like cooler or something. I don't know. They felt like a little basic for Mooncat, I guess. I was expecting something a little bit more exciting, but maybe the show itself is not super crazy or anything either. But the polishes look super pretty, and I would love to see them in person. I don't know why. I need Mooncat PR. Anyone wanna talk to Michelle? I'm Mia. Hey, Michelle. But another thing that I really love about the Mooncat collaborations that they do is that they have the really cool boxes that they have. Like the cartons for the nail polishes are always super well designed, and Mooncat seems to be doing a different strategy with their releases lately. I know that Michelle has stepped back a little bit from the company, and I think that Mooncat only released like legit like 4 or 5 collections last year. I could be wrong, it could be even less than that, I don't remember, but I'm really surprised by that. But they still seem to be pretty popular. And like I said, this collection, the Avatar collection, at the time of filming, released many months ago, and people are still like posting about it and like still vibing with it. The collection is still in stock, and it's a limited edition collection because it's a collaboration. So it seems like the new, you know, kind of rollout system is working for them. So I'm happy for them, of course. I'm just interested to see if other brands are gonna kind of keep doing that same thing. It would be interesting if brands like Cirque Colors, for example, kind of slow down on releases, just because I know Cirque Colors, it feels like they release literally like every 2 weeks. But honestly, I think like Holo does that too, so can ILNP. So overall, back to the Mooncat collection, I think they did a great job, and they get an A from me for sure. The next collection I'll talk about is Holo Taco's Declassified collection. This was their 3rd time doing it, I believe, and it was just a 4-piece collection, so it was, you know, pretty nice and smooth. I did think it was very interesting that they put a cream polish in there. It's like that periwinkle Well Wishes. It was a nice shade, but honestly, I do not think that the Declassified collection is a place for creams. Like, no creams allowed, for real, because it's like they're taking the place of something that could have been way cooler. So that was a little bit of a bummer, honestly. And the whole collection itself, I know they're not meant to be like generally cohesive, but I mean, you can still try it a little bit. I don't know. The collection did not hit with me too much, honestly. I think it was just the color story, something like they didn't feel like they clicked together 100%. But the polishes themselves had like great formulas, honestly, and I still really love the idea of the Declassified collection. If you're not familiar with the Declassified collection from Holo Taco, it's basically where they put prototypes from other polishes or ones that weren't picked and put them in their own collection at the end of the year. And I love that concept. I think it's so fun, and I love seeing like what kind of comes out. So I think these polishes were pretty cool. Waterworks was definitely a favorite. I think that one was cool. Cool Ranch, of course, as well. So there were some good ones in here for sure, but overall I'm gonna give it a B. Next up, we have ILNP's Flower Shop. This one was just a 4-piece collection of some creams. I really do appreciate when ILNP just does these small little creme pushes and, you know, kind of expands their creme catalog. I wonder if they'll do that, you know, like forever, or they're just doing it a lot because it's still kind of new. Interesting, we'll see. But the Flower Shop collection I thought was super cute, honestly. It's just a 4-piece collection, but I think it was really nicely curated, and I really do appreciate that for sure. And honestly, maybe I am a little bit biased because I did used to work in a flower shop. So I do think these polishes are kind of nostalgic in a way. Like, I'm sentimental towards them, even though I've never had them, but they just look really nice, and I love the idea of it. Like, the idea isn't flowers, it's a flower shop, you know? It's a little bit different. So once again, I think ILNP executed this wonderfully, and I'm giving it an A. The next collection I'm going to talk about is Cirque Colors Femme Fatale collection. This one was kind of like leading up to Valentine's Day kind of vibe. So it was like all pink and red kind of a theme. It was 6 polishes and it was a mixed formula. So they had like some jellies, some magnetics, thermals, stuff like that. But I only liked like 2 of the polishes in the collection. I liked the topper, the reflective topper, and then I also liked Black Widow. I thought those were really cool, and the theme for the collection I did like. I thought that was like kind of fun and exciting. However, the polishes themselves, the other 4 in the collection, like Red Hot Jelly, I didn't really see a point for that because Cirque Colors I feel like has a lot of Red Hot Jellies, so I was like kind of bummed about that. I was like, why did you do this? You have too many of these. And then the thermal in the collection, I did not like the look of it at all, just my personal opinion. I don't like when there's a bunch of holo in my thermals. I don't know, it's like keep them separate. I don't like them together. And then the other like light pink jelly, I feel like they have so many like that too. So I don't know, it was like I had, once again, high hopes for the collection. They always have good like ideas for collection themes, but then I feel like they kind of fall short again on the executions, like word of the day, like I don't know. So I do feel kind of bad for them almost. So I feel like no one even like talks about this collection at all. I feel like that's happening a lot. I don't know if people are just moving away from Cirque Colors. I know their prices have always been a little bit expensive and definitely deterrence for a lot of people to even try them out. In my experience, I've pretty much only had good experiences with Cirque, but I know obviously everyone has their own that they have. But I am seeing a lot of people gravitate away from Cirque Colors, and I wonder if it's because the collections themselves like aren't as inspiring feeling, or if it's something else. I don't know. So if you feel a certain way about Cirque Colors, let me know, because I am curious to learn more about what the feeling of the people are on the company. The last collection I'm going to be talking about before we get to the final rankings is Holo Taco's Magnetic Attraction collection. I thought this collection was honestly like really cool. I really like the collection. It's a 6-piece collection, I believe. I think it's 5 different magnetic pastel shades and then 1 heart topper, which I thought was so cute. It went so well with the collection. They also released a magnet with this collection as well to help you do like that velvet effect on the nails. And something about this collection, like the rollout, I just really liked. Now that I think about it, it could be because I think it was the first collection from Holo Taco in like a couple months or so. They went like a little bit longer between collections, and this one just felt so fun and happy, and like I love pastels, and the shimmer in some of the polishes are just like so cool. They felt like unique and refreshing. Like I felt refreshed from this collection, if that makes sense. Like I really did appreciate it, and I think the collection did well overall, like in the public's opinion as well. I know the magnet hasn't been in stock for a while. It's kind of off and on, so that is a shame, but of course you can just buy magnets from other places. I got mine from ILNP, so I do really like using it. They're super fun. And I just 3D printed like one of those spinners to do the glass bead thing as well, so I did try that out. Super cool, love it. I'm getting into magnetic polishes more, so I am super happy to have the Holo Taco ones kind of in my collection. So overall, I'm gonna give this one an S. I think that's the first S and only S in this video. I was just really into this collection. So that is the last one that we're gonna be talking about for like the winter collection. It's kind of hard to find a cutoff exactly for when winter becomes like spring, but there's also like transitional collections, so it's kind of hard, but I'm cutting it off there. And now we'll kind of get into the second portion of this video where I'll kind of cover the overall rankings for the full year. All right, so to kind of compare the 4 brands I covered in all of these videos, first up we have Cirque Colors. Overall, the full like 2025-2026 year for Cirque Colors collections, I ended up giving it an average grade of a C. Once again, just based on my personal opinions and what I have ranked the collections in all of these videos. And that one comes from 11 different collections that they released. Next brand I'm gonna talk about is Mooncat. Mooncat actually ended up getting B+, so quite a bit higher than Cirque Colors for sure. And I was honestly surprised by that because I thought it would be like an A or an S for sure. But yeah, surprisingly it was a B+. And that's probably because they only got 5 collections that were released, and it was basically one C collection and then an S AAA. So that still brought it down to a B+ though. The next brand is Holo Taco. Holo Taco also ended up getting a B+, so it kind of seems like, in my opinion anyway, that Mooncat and Holo Taco are kind of on the same level with the, with how much I like the collections on average, but Holo Taco released like almost double the amount of collections that Mooncat released, which was pretty surprising to see it put that way, but overall I ended up giving it the same average grade. ILNP is the last one, and this one got a B from me, which I think I was expecting. I think a B grade is very, symbolic of how I feel about ILNP, like still really good. And they do kind of have a lot of variation for me though. They can kind of, go from like a D to like an S, honestly. Like sometimes it's just hit or miss with their collections, but I think a B grade is definitely very fair. A couple of other interesting statistics that I got from tracking these collection rankings was that the brand that got the most S tier rankings from me was actually a tie between Holo Taco and ILNP, which I would not have guessed, but that is the way the data crumbles, The next one is the brand with the highest average grade for me was Mooncat. Like I said, they had a lot of high scores that I gave them, and the brand with the lowest average was Cirque Colors. I thought this was a fun little experiment. I don't think I'll redo this whole collection seasonal ranking thing unless you guys really want me to. I guess I'm kind of already a little bit late for spring if that were the case. But overall, I think it was super fun. I loved kind of just recapping all the collections that kind of released this year. Feel free to look into my playlist that I have where you can kind of go through and see how I felt about each individual collection that came out from those brands in 2025 and early 2026. And thank you guys so much for watching and sticking by the channel. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.